So
Okay.
we're recording.
So let me tell you a little bit about me and how I've got into this line of helping people set up their expos. I have been doing expos most of my business life. I have been in radio almost 30 years. I also owned a company for 7.5 years. And in those, I used to attend a lot of things like the National Radio Broadcasters Association up in Washington, D.C. I've done things in downtown Atlanta. I was a preferred vendor for the Cobb Galleria's Home and Garden Show. And so I've learned by watching other people, looking at other displays, how to actually present yourself at a business expo. With our station, we're constantly out in the community. In fact, I think we'll be in Griffin this Saturday at the fair. Isn't it this weekend?
Yeah, fair's this weekend.
Yeah, we have set up, going to be there. We've grown our station to where we are now covering 52 counties in Georgia and East Alabama. And that's just this network. We also have stations in Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Missouri. We've grown to 29 radio stations now. So when I started, we have 3. And so we're constantly growing, we're constantly training, constantly building people up to become ministers and to be engaging out in the community. Part of that is the Georgia Crew, which will show up. So in doing that, I started about, I think 2016 was the first time I started helping chambers teach their people how to set up an expo and how to set up a booth in an expo to maximize their presence and their participation in those things so that they can find a reason for actually, hey, when I go here, I know what I'm doing. I'm not just going to show up and hope we will do well. And the first thing that we wanted to talk about is the 4 Ps. There are 4 Ps, and I'll go through those in just a second. The first P is purpose. When you go to an expo, you want to have a purpose for being there. And most people say, well, okay, well, what is my purpose? And I always tell people when you go, have 3 things you want to accomplish. 1 is primary, 2 is your secondary, and your tertiary is the thing that's, I hope I can get that accomplished, but you want to get those 3 things. Anytime you go to an expo, the first thing you want to do, and I'm going to give you your first one, the next 2 is something you need to create. But your first one is get appointments. The first thing you want to do is get appointments. An expo is not a place to sell something. An expo is not a place to go out and just meet the community, just to say hello, just to be visible, that's not the place for it. You're there to do business. And you have to remember an expo, especially a business to business or a business to community expo, is there to do business. So your job is to get an appointment outside of the expo so that you can go build connections, build your client base, build your prospect base. Otherwise, why are we there? You're there to get appointments. That's primary. Number 2, there's several other things that you can do. You may use it for branding, marketing, awareness, helping to build on the brand that you have. You may have a new business or an old business that has branding issues. And there is a difference between branding and marketing, which is a whole different seminar that I do on the difference between branding versus advertising. They're 2 different concepts. They can work together or they can work against each other. You need to know what those are as a business owner. That's a whole different seminar. Are you there to do branding and marketing? Are you trying to be one up on your competitor? Are you trying to get that competitive edge? Trying to get your unfair share of that pie. And I used to tell people all the time when I do sales training, it's like, your job is not to get your fair share of the pie. Your job is to get the unfair share of the pie, because as long as you got the unfair share of the pie, you always have the edge. You always are there a little further than they are, and you can actually provide better service to somebody when they're giving you a little bit more than they are your competitor. Otherwise, you're going to be judged the same as your competitor if you're getting the same amount. If you get that unfair share, then you can actually produce better for them. Is it to increase your prospective client base? A lot of people just want to build a database. They come up there, they show up with a box, you fill out this form, drop it in there, and the next thing you know, you're getting bombarded with emails from these guys that you met at the expos. I mean, that may be what you want to do. And if that's your goal, it's okay. If that's what you're trying to accomplish, it's your purpose. Your purpose of being here is to do that one thing. Primary is get appointments. Secondary is to do what? Okay? It could be to show community support. I just want to be there. A lot of banks, corporate accounts like Georgia Power, they want to just support the expo, so they'll put up a booth, they put up a huge display of people, and all they do is just hand out tchotchkes all day. That's all they do, is just hand them out. They're not trying to build their donor base, they're not trying to get appointments, they're not doing anything. They're just saying, hey, we're here, we're supporting you. That's who we are. We're showing our community support. And that's okay if that's your goal, if that's what you're trying to accomplish. You're there to engage your own customers. Your own customers may be coming there. You may be seeing friends, maybe you see other people. I know a lot of people who attend these type of expos just to network with other businesses that are there. And that is fine if that's your goal. If that's your purpose for being there, that is totally fine. But you need to have that as your purpose, and you need to be building from that purpose. You may have a new product or a new service that you want to introduce. It can be a great time to do that, especially when you go to technology type expos, or like at the construction company when I used to do that, we were introducing a new product line. I remember I used to feature decks a lot. So I'd come in and build a deck inside the expo. I'd actually build a deck, and it would have a wall, privacy wall. It would have a screen porch side to it. I'd cut a hole in the fence there and put a TV with pictures of all the work that we'd been doing. And when they came out with composite decking, I was introducing that composite decking. Look, you can't see any nail holes when we do it from the bottom. And I could have a part so I could lift up and show them how all the nail holes are underneath. And they were all kind of there. And then there was the under deck things that we did. And so there was just so many ways we wanted to introduce that new product. And so that may be one of your purposes. You may think of something else. Why am I here? You need to define that. The first thing you need to do before you ever sign the paperwork that says I want to join this expo and I'm going to give them my money, why are you going to be there? Determine why you want to be there, and then work your expo booth to fit that message, to fit that cause, that purpose. Okay? Have a strategy in mind. Have your tactics in hand before you sign the paperwork to attend. Get them, write them down, and make sure your staff knows about it. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, about being organized, that everybody who's going to be attending or representing you, they need to do the same thing. The second P is promotion. The most successful expo exhibitors I see are the ones who don't depend on the promoter, which in this case would be the chamber. They don't depend on the promoter to do all the advertising for them. They're out there doing their own promotion. Hey, I want to be at this expo. I want to meet as many people as I want to, and I want them to come looking for me. So when they get there, they're going to come find me. That's who I want to see. I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to get this guy, and then, but I want to go to that guy because he's the one I want to see. This is the reason I'm here, is to see them. And that's what you want to do. And there are several ways to do that. Your current marketing strategies, which could include radio, TV, newspaper. Of course, it should include radio because I work for radio. But radio, TV, newspaper, social media. There's in-store displays. I've actually done expos where I see people, they would come in and they have actually been stuffing their bags with flyers about that expo at their stores. And they're saying, hey, we're going to get the expo. Hey, we're going to get the expo. So when you get home, you open your bag, they pull a product out, and there's a flyer. And they say, oh, they're going to get the expo. And they're self-promoting themselves. And so in turn, what happens is the expo is crowded, you got a lot of people there, and they come looking for you specifically, especially if you give them a reason. Give them that coupon, that extra incentive. Hey, when you bring this, register for the grand prize, but there will be something added for you because you responded to this. We'll give you something special just for showing up. And that may be something like a shopping bag like this. Hey, we're gonna give them these nice bags. I'm not gonna give them this. I'm gonna give them one of these simply because they showed that flyer when they came in. Or it could be a mug. It could be anything. But give them a reason to come looking for you. And then of course social media. Doing your email blasts, doing your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever it is you're doing from a social media standpoint, start promoting the fact that you're going to be at this expo, and tag people. Make sure you tag people on it so that when they see that, maybe they'll share it for you, and you start getting that, you're generating that organic interest in the fact that you're going to be at this expo. So number 2 is promotion. You got a purpose for being there. Now, how am I going to promote this? What are the steps I'm going to take to promote the fact that I'm there and giving people an exact purpose for coming to see me when I'm there? Okay? You do your own promotions. You can't depend on the promoter or the chamber to do that for you. Do it yourself. Make it intentional, okay? Third P. Oh, and I'm sorry, last one, I forgot. Chamber events. When you go to chamber events and you're doing connections, say, hey, we're gonna do a 60-second, everybody's got 60 seconds to talk, and I want you to do your elevator speech, and hey, blah, 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 this is me, and I do this, I do that. By the way, I'm gonna be at the EXPO. Are you gonna be there? Come find me. I've got some great things. If you come tell me you were at the chamber event, I've got something for you. And usually chamber events, okay? They put you there. Promote. The third P is presentation. Presentation is the one thing you want your guests to remember about you. And I tell people what you want them to do is to give them a simple message. Make it very simple. If you look at my display, and I'm giving you a display up here on purpose, the simple message is basically the Joy FM. We're a station, we're a ministry, we're out there reaching, and we've got Joy FM, everything's Joy FM. It's not this convoluted. And I'm going to show you some displays at the end of this of some expos. In fact, I did some from the chamber that you did a few years ago.
No.
I was hoping none of them would be here because I blocked their faces out so you couldn't tell who they were. But I was going to show you some things that were done right, some things that weren't done right, and you can help me decide. But you want it to be a simple message. So when you set up your display, give it a simple message. Make it inviting. Don't make it so commercial that people will say, oh, you know, I didn't come here to get sold something. I came here to discover. You want it to be so inviting that they will actually walk in and discover things about you that they may not know about you. If you have a sweet shop, they might not know that you do pies. Well, I do cakes and donuts too, but yeah, I do pies. Oh, really? Can you do? And it gives them an opportunity to discuss it with you. Make it a simple message. Invite them into your living room, as I mentioned. Give it a professional display. And when I say professional display, you got table skirting, you got backdrop. We actually have carpet squares. So when I set this up, I actually have carpet squares here. So when people come to my booth, they're standing on carpet, not on concrete. So we set up, so we actually have carpet squares and make it very inviting. Also, do not use handwritten signs. Ever, ever, ever. I hope your mama takes a ruler and slaps the back of your hand if you bring a handwritten sign in there. Don't do it. It looks so unprofessional, so mom and pop. This is an opportunity for you, if you are a mom and pop, to look as big as Home Depot by doing it right, by having a printed sign, by having a display. Don't get cluttered. My table right now, if I were to really look at it, is almost to me cluttered. I've almost got a cluttered table. I don't want too much on there. I want them to see the display as something that, hey, there's something I want to see or something, and I want to give them a reason. We're going to talk about the prize wheel here in just a second too. You want bright colors, company themes. If you notice, my shirt is black with the red logo, black logo, black logo, black logo, black logo. There's a theme here. I was going to have someone come to help me today. They would have worn the black with a logo on it. We're going to be the same. We're not going to come with a red shirt, a green shirt, a blue shirt, a white shirt, jeans or slacks, sandals or shoes. We're going to have it all mapped out before we get there, that this is our presentation and this is the theme we're going to carry to it with that one simple message. You want to have an open booth display. You don't want to have, I really don't like it when people push their tables to the front and they sit behind the table. But sometimes the displays, that's all they give you. So you have to make it as inviting as you can. For whatever space they give you, make it as inviting as you can. Again, you're going to invite them into your living room. Dress for them. Don't dress because that's the way you dress at home. Get your rest. Care. The one thing that I tell people is that if you don't have the passion, they're going to know it. Your actions and the way you respond to them and the way you present yourself in this expo, it tells everything they need to know about whether they want to stop and see you or not. Have the passion, be out there, be engaging, saying hello, having a uniform dress code, I mentioned that. Make sure you wear deodorant. This is the one day you want to put the deodorant on. Also, it's okay to wear perfume. Don't douse it on you, don't take a shower in it. You know, you don't want it to be, I mean, how many of you sit in church on Sunday mornings and nights and smell the talcum powder perfume from Granny 3 rows up? Don't do that. you know, it's okay to smell good, but be conscious of the guests. What I tell people is be conscious of them. Don't do it for yourself, do it for them. So try, it's okay to wear deodorant, just don't overdo it. If you have a long expo and you're gonna be there for hours, I tell people bring an extra pair of shoes. If I'm doing a 3 or 4 hour presentation and we take a break, I go into somewhere and I change shoes. Just changing your shoes, putting on a different pair of shoes changes how you stand in your posture. It changes your comfort level by changing shoes. First thing when I do when I get home is kick my shoes off and put my flip-flops on. Just changing shoes changes my whole atmosphere, my whole demeanor. So sometimes if it's a long expo, bring an extra pair of shoes. No hands in your pockets. There's nothing more uninviting than this right here. This is like saying, I'm comfortable, please don't bother me. You know, plus I'm bored because nobody's stopping at my booth. I don't understand why.
Jingle change in your pocket.
Yeah, and jingling, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Change, or they're playing with the keys or
Yes.
something.
Oh, it burns.
No leaning, don't lean against stuff, don't slouch. No drinking and eating at your booth. It's not your dinner table. If you have something to drink, put it behind the booth. Don't eat there. Don't talk on your cell phones. None. You should, if your employees are coming, say, leave your cell phone in the car. Leave it in the car. Don't bring it inside. Don't put it in the heat either, but leave it in your car. Or something, or put it on vibrate or silent or something. No phone calls, no texting. If you have, you have to have your phone, I tell people, you always have 2 people there. Never leave your booth unattended, always have somebody there. You get a phone call in, you walk away from your booth. In fact, I told some people, said, find your competitor and go stand in front of his booth and use the phone. Talk on the phone in front of his booth. But no, you want to walk away from your booth, walk outside or do something so you're not doing business and sharing personal or private customer information or anything in front of a crowd of people.
We typically do offer a lounge area for the exhibitors at the chamber, where when we're able to have it at the Kiwanis building. Their large boardroom is a good way to go sit, have something to eat,
Right.
and use your phone or your laptop for a few minutes to
I
take
want to
notes.
talk about having each other's back here in just a minute too, so you'll see what that works. No phones, and I think that's the next thing up here, is team rotation, have each other's back. When we do a long expo, Jerry Brandon did this with me last time. Jerry Brandon's one of my co-workers. He and I know each other. So when I say have each other's back, I'm over here talking, because we're a radio station, we have a lot of people come up, they just want to talk. I'm over like, I'm missing appointments. I'm missing appointments because this lady said we're talking, and I want to engage her, and I want to be courteous to her, I want to show her that I care, but I'm not here for that. This is not the place or the time for you to tell me how great the morning show is, or the thing you heard 14 days ago, or how do I qualify for this contest, or anything. And so that happens. And so what happens is, if it's my turn up and I'm up here doing it, and Jerry's sitting back here because he's my backup, he will say, Ken, I can answer that for you. Let me tell you what, why don't you talk to Jerry? Jerry, thank you very much. And I'm back in the saddle again. And we have each other's back. So he's dealing with this, trying to take care of it so I can do what I want to. And every once in a while we'll swap off, and I go back over and sit down, and he gets in front, and I'm doing the same thing. If I have a client that comes up and I have a prospect that I'm trying to get an appointment with, and I'm sitting there engaging them, trying to talk, I will tell them, say, Mr. Jones, tell you what, let's step over here. Jerry, can you watch this? And I'll walk him aside over here, and Mr. Jones and I will have a conversation so I can get that appointment while Jerry mans it. So we've got each other's back all the time, but we're backing each other up. We're there for the same purpose. If I can help him, I want to help him. If he can help me, he's going to help me. We're there for a purpose, and that's to get the appointment. So if he sees there's an opportunity for me to do that, he's going to support me. So have your team and teach them to back each other up. Watch, protect them, and back them up. Protect them from people who just want to say, yeah. And you know, there's sometimes people that just come up and you can tell they sit there and watch TV all day, and they're out here and they just want to sit and talk. And they just stand there and just talk. And you're like, I'm wasting my time here. So have somebody to support you, back you up. We even have a signal that we do for each other, and we just like, when they see me doing that, Jerry's like, oh, okay. And it's just a back wave, I just do like this. And he sees that, and he said, okay, I need to help him out. So if he doesn't catch, or he may give somebody else too, sometimes there are. Okay, more about presentations. You're trying to give them something that people remind you of, have interactive and unique gifts, quality handouts. It's okay to have cups, cheap cups, give them away. These are cheap, get rid of them. You've got big mugs that are $5 or $6 a piece. It goes to special people. You save those for somebody who you just got an appointment with, or somebody who showed up with a flyer from your bag, and you say, hey, I've got something for you, give them a really nice tumbler or something like that. I've got bumper stickers, I've got magnets. Bumper stickers are 10 cents a piece, magnets are $1.50 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So we come up and we say, do you want a magnet or a bumper sticker? Oh, I want a magnet. Now all these kids, I want magnets. I tell you what, we actually have magnets just for the kids. They look like this. These are magnets, and these cost about 40 cents a piece. So here's you one, here's you, and give them a magnet. That's what they're looking for. And by the way, this has a message on it. So when they put it in the refrigerator, it's like, keep praying and share joy. So it's a nice little message. It's not just a bumper sticker. So, if you have a PowerPoint, let me talk about candy and treats. Nothing is worse than you to go out and buy the cheapest candy you can find with hard candy that nobody eats. You'll never have them come out. Go out and buy nice candy. Now, you don't have to go out and buy Andes mints. You don't have to go out and buy Thin Mints, but buy some decent candy. If you're going to give something out, try to do it something that's wrapped. Don't give loose candy or loose gum or loose stuff. Get something wrapped and give those out, and make sure it's good candy. Branded spiffs, I've got those. Kiosk PowerPoint, if you have a PowerPoint going on in your display, it needs to be 30 seconds or less. No one will sit there and watch it if it's 2.5, 3 minutes long. The average time somebody stands looking at your booth is 7 seconds. 7 seconds, wow. That's it. You've made your impression, you've lost them, or you gained them. So you want your PowerPoint to be action, you want a big screen, and you want it 30 seconds or less, and it's rotating, constantly rotating. So let it just keep going. Your staff needs to know what they're doing. When I did my construction displays up at the Etiquette Galleria, my daughter, very pretty girl. She's very pretty. She would go with me. She was my bait.
Yeah.
My nephew is out of Byron. He would drive up here and help me, and I would pay him to come up and help me. He's a nice looking guy. He's a baseball player, and he actually played in the spring league for Cincinnati Reds. I mean, he's just really a nice, hunky little guy. And so they were my bait. So they were out here and say, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. The Expedition talking about, well, I'm thinking about doing that. You know what? Let you talk to my dad or my uncle. And they would turn to me, and that's when I let them be the bait, pull the people in, and then I would just step in and say, let me pull you aside. And so then I would do that, and I have one of my other guys, one of my foremen, would be there. If I'm booked, then I forgot his name. Anyway, he would step in and take over. And so they were just pulling them in, and I was doing the work. They'd pull them in, and I do the work. And I'm constantly building that database, constantly building something so I can start marketing these people and their friends and their neighbors, and that's how we did it. And when we did our seminar in February, I always booked enough business to last me until August, because the next one is in September. So I go do it in September and try to book it through December, because January is one of those months you just catch up on taxes.
Yeah.
So avoid political and divisive discussions. Don't talk politics, period, end of message. Don't talk politics. Don't talk schools. I mean, it's hard for us who have strong affinities for Roll Tide or Go Dogs or something like that. If you see somebody with Alabama come up and you say Go Dogs, you just lost them. They may think it's funny, but they're not going to stop. Mm-hmm. Avoid that. You're trying to get an appointment. You can't offend them. Try to avoid those if you can. Now, sometimes it's just obvious. I had one sometimes where this lady would come up, she'd have Auburn on, and this guy had Alabama on. It's like, how does this work? You know, and I'll get them to talk about it, but I won't talk about it. So, just avoid that, especially with this vaccinated, there's pro-vaxxers. I'm not vaccinated, I'm rebellious, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Why aren't you vaccinated? Just don't go there, just let it go. Let it go. So, we're not gonna talk about COVID because we already did that. Contests and giveaways. Let me tell you something that's really cool right now, and you need to work on this. This is something you need to do. Hands-free registration. Build your QR code. Hey, I'm here to register for that thing you give money. Great. There you go. Take a picture of that with your phone and register on your phone. You never have to touch anything. Don't have to fill out any ink pens, don't have to have any forms, don't have anything. Get your QR code. If you're gonna do a contest or registration, get a QR code and say, here it is, and print it out on a nice piece of paper, just like we did here. This is actually two-sided. This is very expensive. Please don't know I did this, but this is a QR code. It's simple. You don't have to keep this box to take up your space when you can use it for a display. Okay. The other thing is, if you noticed, I've got a presentation right here. When somebody walks up, they say, what do you got? I've got it all together right here, just like this. And I say, there you go. They don't have to go over at my table, going through stuff like this. Here you go. Did you want a bumper sticker? Did you want a magnet? Okay, let me get you one. I do the handouts. I don't let them come here and run through my stuff, because I've had them come here and usually they have a bag. Never doing it here. And it's like, that's not why I'm here. I know I appreciate it and I'm glad you're hungry, but this isn't the place to eat, okay? You're there to do business. You're there to do business. And just keep that in mind. So I'm constantly making sure I'm controlling my own booth. This is my house, my living room. You're welcome into it, but you're not gonna take my bric-a-brac off my shelf and take it home with you. Okay? All right? Any questions on that?
On the QR code, if you were gonna do a drawing, do you, like, goes to a randomizer? Like, how do you pick
We do it
somebody?
when we get back.
Okay,
We don't do it at the event.
okay, so then you would dump all that into a database or something and,
It actually goes directly to my system.
okay,
So I get back and I have a motions team that will go through it, make sure there wasn't any duplications, make sure that, it wasn't somebody who's under 18 or anything like that, because by law, I can't give away anything to anybody under 18. We cannot gather information from someone under 18 or
Okay.
a minor. I
Okay.
can't have their information. So we eliminate all those, delete them from the system, and pick somebody.
okay.
We call them. Now, if I have something like the chamber says, hey, we're doing something, I'll just bring some tickets, a couple of tickets, and I'll just take it to them, and I'll let them just give it away. Hey, I got 2 tickets to Callaway Gardens, why don't you give those away on our behalf? Now, however you want to give them away, I don't care.
Okay.
So I do it that way, that's how we do it. When they start doing all this announcement on there, hey, we're giving away another bread basket, something, or a flower basket from such and such and such, and we got more coming, we just don't participate in those. That's not why I'm there.
Okay.
Doesn't help me any, okay? Participation etiquette. Let's talk about some etiquette. High schools. You notice I have a high school. When I go to displays, they always give you a table, they always give you 2 chairs. Always. Most venues do that. I'd say y'all can take the chairs, don't want them. I'll take them, set them up in the aisle so y'all can pick these up. And usually I even bring my own table because my skirt built for my tables. But sometimes the tables fit, so I don't have to bring my table in. But I sit in the chair. I sit in the stool. I'll bring my own stool just like this, and I'm gonna show you why. If you want to be a guest and come up to my booth, just walk right here like you're coming to my booth, and I'm gonna show you why I do this. And this is where chivalry, sometimes you have to put chivalry aside. If Cindy were to come up to my booth, Cindy, as far as stature is concerned, is not that tall. I'm at her eye level right now. And I can sit and talk with her and be just as nice to her on her level.
Yeah.
And so it allows me to
That's
have
nice.
to get out of my chair. And now she's looking up
Right
at
in my
me.
neck.
And yeah, straight there. So I'm sitting right here and I'm right at her level. And there are a lot of people, short people, and it's like, it's okay. My wife is 5'3", so, and I can talk to her. And I'm giving her my attention, so chivalry's out the door, but I'm being just as courteous as I can at her level. Now, somebody who's taller, if you'll come over here, I'll show you what else is so good about that. Thank you.
Well, and just while I'm standing here, we had talked about, before we started the video, about COVID and different things and how everybody's on a different level.
Yep.
Not everybody's circumstance at home, but to let the customer decide if it's gonna be a fist bump, elbow, or a
Right.
handshake.
And a lot of times,
Or you could even make a little display that says, "We welcome fist bumps," or something like that
And
to
I don't-
start that.
To me, I just take my hands and do them just like this, and clap them and put them in my lap and say, hey, how are you? It's
Yeah.
good to see
And then
you.
and then
I don't
there's
even
no
offer an
awkwardness.
option.
Yeah.
So, and for this guy, he's like, I just stand up, and there I am. I don't have to climb out of a chair or roll out of a chair, I just stand up, and I'm at his level again. So the object is to think about the guest, and thank you very much, that's all I want to show.
Oh, come on, I want you to stick around.
So,
Thought I was gonna jump on a raffle.
Well,
you
he's
want to
gonna
register,
get a
you want to
bumper
register,
sticker.
let me give you a QR code. So, a stool, bring a stool. It doesn't have to be a fancy stool, but bring a stool. Because it allows you just to be right there with them, you're meeting them at their level, and that's what you want, make them as comfortable and as inviting as possible. So, did you have a question?
What would you do if you'd had a couple, let's say they were a couple and they walked up to you? Would you have,
That's where you have to determine who am I gonna talk to, who am I trying to reach. If my demographic is females, I'm going to her level.
okay,
And which it is, my demographic is a 25 to 54-year-old female, and I'm gonna go to her level. And I can look up at him. It actually gives him power. It gives a man power to actually be a little higher than me. And I'm not there to play a power game. I'm not. I'm here to engage her, and I want to get her connected, and I want him to appreciate the fact that I'm on her level. But if I'm trying to target men, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna do like this. I'll say, "Hey, how are you doing? It's good to see you."
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to determine who does it look like the decision maker is in that
Yeah.
family, so.
Yeah.
makes sense.
But I know who I'm targeting. I'm there for the listener for the first part, and then I'm also there for businesses. So I do my networking with businesses while Jerry's doing this, and then he'll go network some businesses, and then we go back and compare notes, and we say, okay, you take this and I'll take that one, you take this one, and then we kind of split it up. So standing or house stools. I recommend stools. And get you something that's comfortable. You're gonna be there for 3 or 4 hours. You don't want to be sitting squirming and pulling your underwear out of your butt. Think like the guests. The guests know that there are people there trying to pull them in. They know that there's other booths over here. And so we usually, and this is about the way we set up our booth, and I sit if our booth's up here, I'm sitting right near the edge. Let's say we've got a 10-foot booth, I'm right here at the edge, I'm sitting there. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. How's it going? I'm trying to engage them as they talk. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I was, hey, how are you? If they stop and carry on a conversation, I'll stand up or sit, however, what's appropriate, and I will try to engage them. Have you heard about our radio station? What do you know about us? Have you registered for our prize? Let me show you something on a QR code. And I try to invite them in. I try to pull them in tenderly, kindly pull them in to try to engage them and get them connected to the station so much better. So think like the guests. Don't try to sell them something. Don't sales pitch them to them. And too many people, they go to these expos and just sell, convince. No, why are you doing that? You have to qualify these people. They may not even be a good prospect for you. They may not be able to afford what you want. They may not be the right candidate. Ask the questions, gather the info, and then to go from there. The hook and expert, I told you about a while ago. Sometimes it takes a hook and expert. My daughter was my hook, I was the expert. So that's, sometimes you need, I've already discussed that one, so unless you need more definition, I'll talk about it. Okay. So that's etiquette. Side note, never point with your hand. Never point. It's rude. It's actually rude. In some countries, when I was in the Navy, we'd pull into a port, we always had a briefing on what to do when you get off the base and you go out and you see the public. If you're in Italy or Greece or somewhere like that, don't wave at people. That is so offensive. You don't wave at them. That's like shooting a bird, basically. It's like giving them the finger. Over there, it's like, ugh, ugh. They said when you wave like this, back of your hand. You don't point. That's like, again, giving them the finger. When you point, you generally what you do when you point is I would point like this. Let me talk about Paige. Right? Let me tell you about Jerry. And point with the back of your hand. Use the whole hand to point. Okay? It's just etiquette. Or the other option is this right here. Let me show you this. And use an ink pen. It's rather use an ink pen or a ruler or something like that. Don't use your finger. Okay? That's just etiquette. A lot of people don't know that. I had to learn it hard. And I learned it the hard way. It was a scene. Do's and don'ts. Let's talk about do's and don'ts. I had this printed out and left it on the printer. I'll get them to you though if you want. Do's and don'ts. Make eye contact, say hello. Worst thing to do is say, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. Make eye contact, say hello. When I was talking to Cindy McGowan, dead in the face. So they say hello. Best booths are engaging. They're scanning the crowd. They're looking. And when I'm sitting up here, I'm constantly I'm looking. I see somebody 4 booths over. So they come right here. I got to talk to that guy. They're the ones I want to see. I want to see them coming. The worst thing to do, though, and I think this is one of the don'ts. The worst thing to do is discount the one that's in front of you for one down here. Because they will know you're not paying attention. You're scanning while you're trying to talk to them and say, it's not interested in me. And you may miss an opportunity because their cousin may be exactly the person you want to talk to. Their uncle may be the one that wants to buy your product. Their aunt may be the exact perfect thing, and you're missing the opportunity because you're ignoring her or offending her and not even knowing you're doing it. So don't fail to qualify. Not every visitor is a good lead. Some people are there just to visit. Try not to spend too much time on them. Be courteous. They may know somebody, so just qualify them quickly and then try to move them on if you can. Say, hey, it's great seeing you. And that's a lot of times when you say that, they know, I want you to move on. Hey, it's great seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. You know, and do it in a very nice way. Ask questions, learn their objective, and then don't fail to qualify. Script the first 5 seconds. Your first 5 seconds when they walk up to your booth, what you say in the first 5 seconds will determine whether you're going to catch them or not. And I'll say it in that way, not like we're out fishing or anything, but yet somehow it is like fishing. The first 5 seconds is the presentation that will catch them. Have it scripted. Scripted. Especially if you've got staff members working there. All right? Say it back to me. Say it. No, you need to give it a smile and more meaning. Script it and teach them to engage everybody the same way. That's that first impression that you're going to give them. Okay? You saw I did like that when I pointed to. Don't scan for someone better. I mentioned that a minute ago. State your benefits in bold letters. I really don't have benefits other than the fact that we're just a radio station with a Christian. So, but if you have benefits that you want, insurance companies, whatever, state your benefits up in bold letters. Let them see it. If they don't have, when they're walking, you don't want them to stop thinking.
No.
You want them to be able to see what you're there for. Don't ignore loiterers. Right? You'll see people who will walk up and they'll walk up there and do like this. They're looking at booths. Don't ignore them. Hey, how are you? Doing good? Yeah. And they may just shift over here and become not a lawyer. They may become a good prospect. Don't ignore them. Move longer conversations out of traffic. I mentioned that a while ago. You got each other's back. I got this guy, Jerry, this is going to take a while to do a little thing to wave back here, and I'll pull this guy outside. Jerry jumps in and takes over. Move them out of traffic so you're not blocking your booth. Sometimes, hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee. Just get them out of the booth. You don't want to clutter your booth up with people as well. Don't check emails or phone messages. I mentioned that a while ago. It's a don't, it's a big don't, it's a big don't. Don't be checking your phone and don't be eating at your booth. Provide value-added takeaways. Make sure the takeaways you give them are value-added. If you're going to give them a flyer or give them a brochure or give them something, make sure it has value. That there's something there. It's not just a sales pitch. You want it to have information. You want it to be relative to why they stopped at your booth. You know, so make sure it's the right information for them. Value-added takeaways. Don't brag about your hangover either. We're not here to talk about your party from last night or the big football game this past weekend. Don't. I mean, you think I'm kidding? This happens. I've seen it. I wouldn't have it up there because I have seen this happen. Man, we got some trouble last night. Golly, I'm so sorry. Is my breath bad? You know? Jerry and I use Jerry a lot. Jerry and I have the same thing too. We carry breath mints or gum in our pockets too. And I never chew gum in front of these things. I always chew it and spit it out before I go back but minutes. And I'll walk up and say, Jerry, you want a mint? No. Jerry, you want a mint? Oh, okay. And what I'm saying is, I smell your breath. And I just do it in a nice way. He does the same thing to me. Ken, you want a mint? Yeah, okay. Because something happened, he smelled my breath or something like that. We're conscious of each other. Always make sure you're checking each other like that. Okay, so finally is follow up. follow up. When you get back, send your letters out, send your emails out. Hey, great, you stopped by. You know, you asked me about such and such. I'm working on that information. It's gonna take me a couple days, but I just wanna let you know, I appreciate you stopping by. In a couple days, you'll get an email from me with all the details. Or is there a time that I could stop by and show this to you? I promise you, it'll be a threatening type of environment. I'm not there to close the sale. I just wanna make sure you get the information you asked me about. Follow up. Key. You got the appointments, now follow up. Or it could be follow up, say, hey, listen, great, thanks. I just want to remind you, you made an appointment with me on Thursday at 3 o'clock. And I've got on my calendar, I'm sending you an evite from my calendar. If you'll accept that, then you and I can be connected. And I've got my cell phone on there. If for some reason you can't make it, make sure you give me a buzz before I head your way. And in my business, I cover 30 counties. I've had people call me 15 minutes before the appointment, and I've already driven 45 miles one way to get there. And I'm saying, well, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Well, I can't meet with you. I left an hour ago to get to you, and you're calling me 15. So make sure you leave your cell phone so they can call you in case. That's just courtesy. People do that. So let's take a look at a couple of booths. This is from the Griffin Chamber. I'm not gonna mention names. You might know them, but I don't. Tell me what these folks are doing wrong. I can think of several things. First of all, what does he do?
He's squatting down to.
Does he sell bottles or something?
Yeah.
Why is she here? She's with some parties too or something. But why is she here? What's on her table? What's inviting? Why would I stop there? What's so funny about this, and this is the funny part about it, and I'll show you what happens. Look at all the people.
And nobody's
And
there.
Nobody's at their booth. They're next door. We're gonna talk about this guy in just a second. We're gonna talk about it in a minute, and it's good. But all these people around them, and they're sitting there like there's, why are we here? They're probably paid employees. They weren't coached. They weren't guided on why you're going to be here. Here's your purpose. This is the purpose I want you to accomplish. So, make sure that we're doing that. Okay. I can think of 2 things right here. Looking at this one. Lady, put your phone down. And this is my dinner table. Got 2 people at their table, and neither one of them's engaging. You're not there to eat and use your phone. You're there to engage customers. That table should be pushed back, and they should be right there with them. What are you looking for? What can I help you with?
And they have a pretty arrangement and stuff to make
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
table look decorative.
Table looks nice.
Exactly.
in
I don't know who this was, but this was, again, one of your booths. So, this was up at the Cobb Business Expo. They had a lot of traffic because it was a nerdy, geeky type of place, but they had way too much stuff. They bought their store.
Oh, wow.
They were there to sell things, not to get them. They want to sell stuff over there, and I think what they're trying to do is clear out stuff, which probably wasn't bad, but it just looks cluttered. I mean, you got wires hanging everywhere. They got a van right here, buy, sell, you can't even read it because they're standing in front of it. So, I didn't, from that standpoint, I would think, you got a shelf out here in the corner that's head high. It's not inviting, unless you're a geeky, nerdy kind of guy. So, which is not a bad thing, but it's, for me, as a general population, it's like, I didn't even go in and see what they had. Okay, again, this is from Griffin. These aren't bad. You observe the simplicity of it. She's got bags, she's got pens, and everything's nice and neat. This guy, we hadn't started yet, so there's nobody at the booth. But again, it's just simple tip. Well, no one protects you like family. One message. It's right there. You can't tell it. Big bold letters. You know why he's there. He's trying to help you protect your family. It's the message. So, actually decent booths. It's simple. Middle Georgia Pest Control. He's got a lot of stuff on his table. You know he's doing pest control. That is what they're there for. But when I came to this, he had a ton of people coming by his booth because he has a tarantula in there. And people were coming to see the tarantula. It was unique. It was creative. And they had this tarantula in there. And so people, especially the kids, are stopping. And so when you have kids, you have the mama factor. So the kids were stopping to see it while mama's talking to this guy, say, who does your pest? We have spiders, not quite as big as this, but there are spiders here, come here in your house.
Well, I can say that, you know, this is the owner of the company, and he's one of the technicians, so I could see how they could take turns and they could do the handoff, because he can answer most questions about how to, but if you want to sign up for new business, well, I'm gonna hand you off to the owner
Right.
and do that, and so this would be a great example of who
So it
that-
wasn't a bad booth, and because you had the tarantula, he's probably better off having this table in the front. Because you want them to see that tarantula when they come by. If you had to put it behind them, you probably wouldn't have been as successful. Again, just things to think about when you set your booth up. Do something unique. Monica Milan's, not Monica, well, that's her name, was her name, she just got married, what's her last name? Her husband does State Farm Insurance, the guy's name, Randy something. Anyway, Southern Credit Union, she works for Southern, she's up, she's engaging, she's got a simple display, she's got the flowers, she's got the banner, well, and actually flowers are no, but she's up, she's talking with them, and I know her, and I guarantee you, she's probably not talking about, well, where do you bank, where do you do, she's not doing any of that. She said, she was probably asking questions about, so do both of you work? Do both of you have an income? Do you have kids in the family? She's trying to find out where she fit in my demographic search. She's asking questions. I know, that's the way she is, I know her. So she's constantly asking those questions. She said, you know what? Have you ever considered this for your children? When you get up, we have a child's bank account that earns interest. And it earns 3.5%, where yours as an adult is only 1.5%. Ours is 3.5%. I know this because this is one of my banks. I have like 3 banks, and this is one of them. So that's the way she does. She's trying to figure out who's my customer here. I'm trying to qualify her, so I know what I can talk to her about. Okay. Oh, by the way, we have a new location right here in Griffin, because they had just opened up that location not long ago, right here in Griffin. So, there's Cobb Gallery as well. Cohota Springs Conference Center, actually one of my clients now. I like the booth, and there's some things I would have done differently. I would not have these chairs here. I would have a bit more comfortable chairs. I would never hang my cat coat on the back of the chair. This is before they started, and the TV is way too big. The TV needs about half that size, of course they're actually covering up part of their banner. But they've got the carpet, they've got the table up front so they can stand and actually be inviting, so they have this. And I know Dawn Lamette was the person I dealt with here. Actually, I picked them up as a client from this chamber event. That's where I picked them up. I was a lead, and I called them about 3 weeks later. We went and met. They're way up in North Georgia. And about 3 months later, we had them on the air. Okay? So she stands at this right here all the time. Stands right here next to this the whole time. And it was a 6 hour. She stood there the whole time, just engaged and talking to people. And all the stuff over here, they had something in the bowl, I forgot what it was. Nice plants. It's just a nice decorative booth. Gas South, again, this is before it started. Very simple display. It's one of those that's just there for community support. They really don't have anything to sell, nothing to give away. They just want to say, hey, we support the community, we support you. Thanks, by the way, come here and leave your business card and we'll do a drawing or something later. You know, it's a very simple display. Atlanta Business Chronicle and somebody else, and I just gave you this basically to show you booth out, booth in. Both are inviting. They did very well. The banner up here is too busy. Their banner is a little too busy on the right side. Our banner actually is a little busy too, but that takes place sometimes. So, you know, there's 2 different options, forefront and background. You choose which one's best for you and how you're going to operate, what your purpose is. And then, of course, there's Six Flags. Number one key, when you do this, have fun. These folks at Six Flags are just there to have fun. And they let kids come in and lay on these things and take pictures with them and all kinds of stuff. They actually would have some photo ops. And later on, they had a Bugs Bunny or a Roadrunner or somebody come by with somebody in the, you know, like in a suit, and it was pretty cool. So, and that basically is it. There's all kinds of things you can do with an expo. You just got to think, well, I'm here, and build everything around that one purpose. Make it purpose driven.
very good
Most
information.
common sense, it's just a
It
matter
is.
of.
By the way, if you do a prize wheel, I failed to mention this. If you do a prize wheel, do not let the prize wheel be the reason they stop at your booth. The prize wheel is a way to draw them in. It makes noise and it creates interest. But if the prize wheel becomes the reason they're stopping your booth, all you can do is have a line of people here trying to win something. the whole time, you're not qualifying. I also, when I'm standing out here, usually when I'm at a booth, especially if I'm looking cow gallery, there's a lot of people, I'm standing here just like this. Just making noise, having a little activity.
Noise, okay.
Just something going on, and people are constantly coming up to me and saying, what's the ball for? You're here, aren't you? Who do you listen to? What's your favorite radio station? Have you registered for our prize yet? And I'm just constantly I just have this ball the whole time, Giles, Jerry, and Grant. Constantly, man. Just the whole time, just like this.
Let me know if you're gonna do that in November, so I can put you some.
When I did the Cobb Galleria Home and Garden Show, and I had that fence with a hole cut out of it, had a TV in there showing displays, I had a CD player underneath with a recurring cricket sound. Just night sounds, just outdoor cricket sounds. And I just turned it on, low key, and it's just going the whole time. I mean, we were there for 3 days. It was a 3-day event, and the whole day. And I mean, there were people, I literally saw booths 3 and 4 up, kind of says, I keep hearing crickets. I keep hearing crickets. I said, you do? Yeah. I keep hearing crickets. I said, well, it's this outdoor thing, you know. I mean, I hear crickets though. I mean, where are the crickets at? And I mean, the second day, here comes the guy from the Cobb Galleria, and he's spraying right around my booth and the guy next to me because they didn't know where it was coming from. It was underneath my booth. And the third day we were breaking down, and I reached down and pulled my computer out, took that cricket thing out, and the guy says, you, and he called me a couple of choice words. Was that you the whole time? I said, yeah, I just didn't have the heart to tell you, man. Just didn't have the heart. But it drew attention to my booth because those crickets were going all the time, from sun up to sundown.
Let's do a pretty bird chirp or something.
Well, I had one too. They had alligator noises and okie dokie swamp sounds and stuff like that. I said, no, the crickets just had too much attention. So, anyway, something that brings attention to you, but don't let that become the reason they stop. Don't let this or this be the reason that you pull them in. Make sure it's to qualify whoever's there in front of you so you can determine whether they're actually what you're looking for.